Imagine standing at the edge of a salt lake, so vast and so white that it looks like snow, while the temperature exceeds 40 degrees Celsius. Behind you, a volcano rises more than 5,600 meters into the sky. And somewhere beneath your feet, tectonic plates run through the earth, the same forces that shaped this land and continue to keep it in motion to this day. Welcome to Iran, a country that most people know only from the news. But what almost nobody realizes, Iran is one of the most geologically fascinating, ecologically diverse, and culturally rich regions on the entire planet. Deserts, rainforests, high mountain ranges, and subtropical coastlines often exist within just a few hundred kilometers of one another. In this video, we take you on a journey through a country you have never seen like this before. We show you how ancient Persian empires left their marks in stone, why the ground here literally shakes, how people have been finding water in one of the driest places on Earth for thousands of years, and what flamingos, lynxes, and Persian leopards have in common. If this fascinates you, feel free to subscribe. You won't miss any further documentaries about the hidden wonders of this earth. Iran is enormous. With an area of roughly 1.65 million square kilometers, it is the 18th largest country on Earth, and yet its sheer size is barely perceived in Western consciousness. For comparison, Germany, France, Spain, and Switzerland combined would just barely reach similar dimensions. Geographically, Iran sits on a high plateau that averages more than 1,200 meters above sea level. This central plateau is enclosed by mountain ranges like a natural frame. To the north, the Alborz Mountains. To the west, the Zagros Mountains, two of the most powerful mountain chains in the entire Middle East. The Damavand, the highest peak of the Alborz, rises to 5,610 meters and is not only the highest mountain in Iran, it is the highest volcano in all of Asia. A sleeping giant that has shaped the image of northern Persia for thousands of years and lives on in myths and poetry. To the south, Iran borders the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, warm, salt-rich, threaded with coral reefs. The coastline stretches over 2,700 kilometers. To the north lies the Caspian Sea, which, at depths of up to 1,025 meters, is the largest landlocked body of water on Earth. Geographically a sea, legally a lake, scientifically a unique phenomenon. These extremes define not only the landscape, they shape the climate, the biodiversity, and the lives of the people. Iran is one of the most seismically active countries in the world, and that has a reason that lies deep below the surface. Literally. For around 70 million years, the Arabian tectonic plate has been pushing northward at a rate of roughly 2 centimeters per year, directly into the Eurasian plate. This slow, relentless collision has folded up the Zagros Mountains, raised the high plateau, and drawn a dense network of fault lines across the entire country. The result, earthquakes again and again. Statistically, Iran experiences several thousand measurable tremors every year. Some of them are powerful enough to destroy entire cities within seconds. In 1990, an earthquake of magnitude 7.4 struck Gilan province in the north. More than 40,000 people lost their lives. In 2003, Bam, one of the oldest mud brick cities in the world, was almost completely destroyed by a magnitude 6.6 earthquake. Around 26,000 people died, one of the most devastating earthquakes of the 21st century. Yet tectonics has not only brought suffering to Iran, it has also shaped its most spectacular landscapes. The Zagros Mountains extend over 1,500 kilometers, a fold mountain range whose regular ridges and valleys look from the air like enormous fingerprints. The layers of limestone, sandstone, and shale tell the story of geological eras through color and form. The dormant volcano Damavand, in turn, is a direct product of this tectonic activity. Its last eruption was probably around 7,300 years ago, but geologically speaking, it is by no means extinct. Fumaroles, vents releasing volcanic gases, remain active to this day. At the heart of the Iranian plateau lie two of the most extraordinary deserts on Earth. Not sand deserts in the classical sense, but landscapes that challenge every concept of extremity. The Dasht-e Lut, the Great Salt Desert, covers an area of roughly 77,000 square kilometers in northern central Iran. Its floor is threaded with a thick layer of salt that has been deposited over millennia from dried-out sea basins. In some places, the crust breaks under the weight of a single person. Beneath it lies floating mud. Caravans that lost their way here never returned. And yet the Dasht-e Lut is alive. Gazelles, onagers, the wild asses of Persia, hyenas, and even wolves are at home here. The Kavir National Park protects a part of this unique semi-desert landscape. In the few oases, life bursts forth in almost explosive abundance. Even more extreme is the Dasht-e Lut in the southeast of the country. The name says it all. Lut means something close to bare or empty in Persian. Covering more than 51,000 square kilometers, it is one of the largest sand deserts on Earth and the hottest inhabited region in the entire world. NASA satellite measurements have recorded ground temperatures of up to 70.7 degrees Celsius here, a world record. No known living organism survives permanently in the hottest zones, not even bacteria. a place that is reminiscent of the surface of Mars. And yet, the Lut is breathtakingly beautiful. The so-called Qanats, bizarre clay towers, eroded by wind and sporadic flash floods, rise like surreal cathedrals above the sand dunes. Some reach heights of over 70 meters. In 2016, the Dasht-e Lut became the first natural site in Iran to be inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. How does one live in one of the driest regions on Earth? Without modern pumps, without dams, without a piped water network? The answer was invented by Persian engineers more than 3,000 years ago, and this system still works today. Qanats are underground water channels that transport groundwater from the mountains through gently sloping tunnels down into inhabited lowland areas. The principle is as simple as it is ingenious. It relies entirely on gravity. No drive mechanism, no energy, no pump, only precise gradients and hand-dug tunnels that sometimes stretch over 50 kilometers. The construction of a Qanat was a masterpiece of knowledge transfer. Mokanos, specialized well diggers, passed their knowledge down through the generations. They dug down from the surface through vertical shafts, sometimes more than 100 meters deep, to inspect, clean, and extend the tunnels. Many of these shafts are still visible today. Seen from above, they look like a string of pearls made of dark dots in the desert. In 2016, UNESCO declared 11 Iranian Qanats a World Cultural Heritage Site. The oldest still functioning system, the Qanat of Gonabad, is said to have been constructed more than 2,700 years ago. It continues to supply tens of thousands of people with drinking water to this day. Around 37,000 active Qanats run beneath the Iranian underground. They have not only kept cities and villages alive, they have made entire civilisations possible in the first place. Without the Qanat, the Iran we know today would never have come into existence. This form of engineering, simple, resilient, in complete harmony with nature, is regarded today as a model for sustainable water supply. Hydrology experts from around the world travel to Iran to study this system. Approximately 70 kilometers northeast of the city of Shiraz lie the ruins of a city that was once the heart of one of the most powerful empires of the ancient world. Persepolis, in Old Persian, Parsa, meaning the Persian city, was the ceremonial capital of the Achaemenid Empire, founded around 515 BC under King Darius I. On an artificially constructed terrace of roughly 13 hectares, Persian, Greek, Egyptian, and Mesopotamian craftsmen worked together to build a palace complex without equal. The Apadana, the great audience hall, could accommodate up to 10,000 people. Its columns, originally 20 meters tall, still stand in part today. The reliefs of Persepolis are a stone encyclopedia of the ancient world. In endless processions, they depict representatives of all the peoples of the empire: Bactrians, Indians, Ethiopians, Lydians, Egyptians, with their distinctive garments, sacrificial animals, and gifts. A message of power, but also of the cosmopolitan self-image of the Persian Empire. In 330 BC, Alexander the Great had Persepolis burned to the ground. What remains unclear to this day: was it a strategic decision, an act of retribution, or the result of a drunken banquet? Historians continue to debate the question. Isfahan, a city whose name has been linked to a Persian proverb since the 17th century. Isfahan is half the world. What was meant was not size, but beauty and significance. Under Shah Abbas I in the early 17th century, Isfahan became the world capital of architecture. The Naqsh-e Jahan Square, the image of the World Square, is one of the largest city squares on Earth. It is flanked by the magnificent Imam Mosque with its luminous turquoise tiles, the palace portal of the Ali Kapu, and the bazaar. All of this on a single square, so precisely aligned that the light frames it in perfect scenery at both morning and evening. The engineers of the Safavid Empire also created in Isfahan 3 of the oldest and architecturally most refined bridges in the world, among them the Siose Pol, the bridge of 33 arches spanning the Zayandeh River. It serves to this day not only as a crossing, but as a meeting place, a tea break, and a promenade. Yazd is considered one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth and the only intact mud brick city. The historic center of Yazd was inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List in 2017. Here, the alleys, walls, and towers seem to have grown out of the earth, because they literally have. Yazd is also the center of Zoroastrianism, one of the oldest monotheistic religions in the world. In the Atash Behram of Yazd, the fire of victory, a sacred flame burns. Uninterrupted, so the faithful say, since the year 470 AD. Iran is a continent within a country. That statement is not an exaggeration, it is geography. Nowhere else in such a confined space does one find such contrasting habitats: subtropical rainforests, alpine mountain ranges, semi-deserts, mangrove coastlines, marshes, and high steppes. Along the southern coast of the Caspian Sea grows the Hyrcanian forest, an ancient mixed broadleaf forest that traces its genetic lineage back to the Tertiary, a time more than 25 million years ago. Alder groves, oak woods, beeches, and wild pomegranate trees form a dense primeval forest that extends from the mountain slopes down almost to the shores of the Caspian Sea. Recognized by UNESCO as a Natural World Heritage Site in 2019. Here also lives what is perhaps the most fascinating animal in Iran, the Persian leopard. It is the largest subspecies of leopard in the world. Its range shrank dramatically in the 20th century. Today, the global population is estimated at fewer than 1,000 individuals. Iran is thought to harbor the largest remaining population. In the Zagros Mountains lives the Persian onager, the wild ass that was omnipresent in ancient Persian art and whose slender swiftness is proverbial. Around 600 individuals survive today, primarily in the Turan protected area. The wetlands of Iran are a chapter unto themselves. Lake Hamoun in the east, near the Afghan border, was once one of the largest freshwater lakes in Asia. A paradise for migratory birds. Millions of flamingos, pelicans and herons used it as a stop on their routes between Siberia and Africa. And then there is the coast of the Persian Gulf. When people think of coral reefs, they rarely think of Iran. Yet the reefs around Kish Island or Hengam Island are of remarkable diversity. Dugongs, sea turtles, manta rays and sharks inhabit these waters, largely unexplored, barely known. While Europe languished in scientific stagnation during the early Middle Ages, astronomy, mathematics, medicine and philosophy flourished in Persia to a degree that has fundamentally shaped the intellectual history of humanity. Omar Khayyam, the Persian poet, was simultaneously one of the most outstanding mathematicians and astronomers of his time. His calendar reform in the 11th century, the Jalali calendar, was more precise than the Gregorian calendar that would not be introduced in Europe until 500 years later. The margin of error was less than 1 second per day. Ibn Sina, known in the West as Avicenna, came from what is now Uzbekistan, but wrote in Persian and Arabic, and through his canon of medicine shaped European medical practice well into the 17th century. His work was used as a standard textbook at European universities for 600 years after his death. But let us return to the sky. Iran has one of the clearest night skies in the world. The high plateau, the dryness, the low light pollution across vast stretches of the country. All of this makes Iran a dream destination for astronomy. It was no coincidence that Persian astronomers were the first to systematically compile star catalogues, calculate planetary positions, and accurately predict lunar phases. The Observatory of Maraga, founded in the 13th century under Hulagu Khan, was once the most advanced astronomical institution in the world. Here worked Nasir al-Din al-Tusi, a scholar whose models of planetary motion demonstrably influenced Copernicus. The scientific revolution, commonly regarded as a European achievement, has deep Persian roots. Today, only an archaeological mound remains of Ma'aga in Azerbaijan province, but the sky above Iran is the same. And whoever gazes at it with clear eyes on a night in the Dasht-e Lut, in the Zagros, or at the foot of Damavand, sees the same infinite panorama that Persian scholars captured in numbers and maps 1,000 years ago. Iran. A land of lava and clay, of salt and snow, of ancient water and ancient knowledge. A land that moves the earth in the most literal sense, and that, if we look closely, still fills us with wonder today. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe to the channel and write in the comments. Which natural wonder of Iran fascinated you the most? Until next time.